Are you ready? John de Chenmo, da Jombo, Yanga, Bobe, Sanji, Riba, da Shaps, the Warren Sheva, Jede, Gamba, Yewo, Kado, Nana, Meba, Ada, Menam, Dumba, Sanji, John de Pejawa, Shaja, Tuba, Chaps, Bochu, Jalu, Dumbo, the Shebo, Rajomo, Yama, Tobe, Sanje, the Bottom, Abdul, Demora, the Warashem, Tide, Tembo, Jebu, Kalu, Kirba, Lana, Meba, Ada, Bena, Dumbo, Sanje, Junde, the Bejawa, Shaja, Tuba, Chat. Sudo jazo che debo jomde de she shep rajom yanda bo sobe sanje reba jazo debo debo sheba jene jeba jewu duwe alo jurba nano meba ado menam je debo sanje jomde bejewa shaja tuba la chate Chudu jasu che okaze kani so che da che sa che de la go de mur mane che de na cho che song ke se che bo che la cha nanda go wa cho du su sa wa di she ga lo se ye mo Tava jete sona ame amma, gombo shkini jala cha. Tenjo dema jeme dave sa, sendo java jala cha. Yudre jana seva sona chi, nyame kini jala cha. Mombo tuje chebe ba tanje chebe dhamma sona yende jazo je deshin sheba jaza tabe jaja dewa yu kewe nge zo le rajin chido dena juju ba shinju jeda cha kone kone Baba Dama Abdu Ne Kenge Damba Yende Hindu Laya Jada Deba Chiya Meja Shin Jewa Kun Soba Range Sene Yodu Dene Sange Temba Karma Ravi Manena Gyuma Seva Shu Menon Lodan Tinda Dije Chena De Tarda Tana Ye Tamje Lipai Oha Tone Jinje Dade Gara Nada Shive Latude Sibe Sode Droa Droa To the founder, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, to God the knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed, transcendent, destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. When the supreme among humans, you were born on this earth, you paced out 7 strides and said, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise then, I prostrate. With pure bodies, formed supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain. Fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best glory, to you I prostrate. With the supreme signs, face like the spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. You are immaculate, 3 worlds are not. Incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean. To you, the one God that essence, I prostrate. The purity which makes one free from attachment, the virtue which makes one free from the lower realms, the one path to sublime pure reality, to that Dharma which pacifies, I prostrate. Those who are liberated and who also show the path to liberation, the holy field of qualified realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you, the sublime community and endemic virtue, I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous action. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a mirage, the flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud, the conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient being, strengthening the rank of seeing, to do the full faults, to be delivered from some vegetation, to be free of aging, sickness, and death.
Baba kunjo zunga jalo dige lagi toba trijina jumde de jebuga chagu bumbu re lagi lonje gindu chenpo da chanchu sembe gindu chenpo da tabo jidu de je jumde de samo nawa shi sheje nandagi tengen jela jumbara judu ya di tse chanchu sempa sempa Aba jere wanju shiro je waru chimba samo juba nila Rashi tomba namba tau tene sanje ye tu tsedan demba jare Anju semba semba jimbo mawa jere de wanju la dige chime so riji ku kanla la shiro paru du chimba samo cheba juba juba de jindar lamba cha dige chime padon Anju semba semba jimbo baba chere se wanju ki tsedan demba jare dadi dige chime so shiri bu riji wam riji gumo kanla la paru du chimba samo cheba juba juba de didar nambar tawa chate Ubo ngabo deda layang shingi tomba nambar Jesu tau su tomba tomba ni su 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 le tomba ni shema tomba ni le jang su shema yin Peshin du tsuwa da dushe da nambar sheba na tomba Chere bu deda che tanje tomba ni le zingi meba ma je ma ga ba chima meba chima dan chewa chiwa meba kama meba wo Chere bu deda wana janju semba nam toba mebe chi shira je paru do chimba la tenji ne de senla cheba Trabo me de chinji lo le shindu dene nyange le debe tar duzun do namba shube sanje tamje kyang shirab je paru do chimba la dene Lana me ba yanda ba zobe chanju momra zoba san yeso tenda wana shirab je paru do nga riba chimbe nga lana me be nga minya ba da nya be nga Tume damje radu shivara shebe nga mindu be na dembar sheba chate shirab je paru nga me ba daya tha gade gade para sang gade buddhi lo Chari bu chanju samba samba jembu deda shirab je paru Samola labra chao dene chonde ne tengen zin dele shende chanju samba samba Baba jerese onju la leso she jawa jene leso lekso rigi bu Tete Shino, Tete Shinde, Chidra Chuye, Tempa, Shidu, Sherab Je, Paru, Teji Sheba, Namjang, Jesu, Yirang, Mochom Den, Deje, Tege, Ka, Sedan, Tempa, Sherida, Tempo, Dan, Janju, Semba, Semba, Chimbu, Maba, Cheres, Wanchu, Dan, Tamje, Dan, Tempe, Teda, Dan, Hadam, Medan, Hama, Yidan, Teza, Jebe, Jiten, Yirang, Yonden, Deje, Shumba, Mumba,
Thus I have heard, once the Blessed One was dwelling in Rajgriha on the ultra seat, together with a great assembly of monks and bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One was totally absorbed in the concentration that examined all phenomena of profound illumination. And at the same time, the noble operation of Bodhisattva Mahadattva was engaged in the practice of the wisdom Dharma.
Those who have been bodily practice. Such people with that look at it like this. I think it's right. Bottles that be into this form. Emptiness, no other than form. Other than emptiness. The people who think repetition, combinations, way. And what is it speaking? There's no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body. There's fears of titles, no fear of divine. They are the beast of the lives. There's only the most sorely dead. They are the beast all the way up to this day to something, cause something, was created something, and all that. There's no wisdom, but it's not everybody. Everyone makes because there's what in the also is a radical. All the Buddhas throughout the time, dying. The mantra of the wisdom brought me young. The mantra of the way inside is the people. There's Lord, the mantra of the wisdom.
This is how we learn the profound wisdom gone beyond. And the Blessed One arose from that concentration, very good, the son of good family. It is exactly like that. The profound wisdom gone beyond should be practiced exactly as you have said it. And then the Dharma will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, the venerable Shashaki put on the noble offering that gathering in the world is its good. And they got the spirit. Snowings and noble difference.
Oh yeah, that didn't want to sign your markets in that Chanju Lamrim in the sun, to down to Dana, Jim Water. That drown anything, that Lamjit, but Namsha Shag to do. And the chat, they do. Let them around the Chanju Lamjit busing in the Lobon Chavati. Any that Pongrap Tamjela, Lobon Chava, the Chavar Meba. 장주 남지 림발라 도섬 제바이나 나는 소라 탐제를 도섬 제바 거쳐봐 되게 내 친구여 세상 이런 거는 제가 남리시 어떤 제디 아니 지금 근데 그 소라 탐제를 놓는 제바다 캐면 같은데 지금 열에 소라
Then we resume our Sunday instruction in the Great Treatise on the Stages of the Path to Enlightenment. It is generally an introduction to the Buddha Dharma. The topic is introductory and also conjoined with a presentation of the stages of the path to enlightenment. And whenever the Great Treatise on the Stages of the Path to Enlightenment is studied, it is equivalent to undertaking an understanding of the meaning of all the scriptures of the Buddha Dharma. There's no difference between the meaning of all scriptures of the Buddha Dharma and the meaning condensed in the Great Treatise on the Stages of the Path to Enlightenment. Study and contemplate the Great Treatise on the Stages of the Path to Enlightenment and become able to understand any scripture later one will encounter.
뭐야다 소라 탐제를 놓는 최고 재능 알아도 세계 단계 말에 뒤져고 단계 말에 가식다 튕제 가게 단계 말에 다 뒤잡들 장주 라브린 디지를 놓는 제샤바 이마 제바이나 아니 신 탐제를 놓는 제바다 총바 아다 신 탐제 소라 탐제 나는 뒤에 조제기 내 탐제 디나는 뒤에 떼샤바 인디 아니 다 안다 딜 터선 제바이나 아니 소라 신 탐제를 터선 제바 배윤의 유바다 차상 특별 튕지 차상 상열에 손
Now, even if one were to attempt to study all the scriptures, there would be time itself would be insufficient. The span of one's life would be insufficient. The supportive conditions wouldn't be supportive enough for such study. Simply too great are they. But condensed into the Great Treatise on the Stages of the Path to Enlightenment are the meanings of all scriptures, condensed and contained herein. So to study and contemplate the Great Treatise on the Stages of the Path to Enlightenment brings with it the very same benefit, the very same potential and potency as having studied all scriptures.
뭐야 이 임바디 아니 남들 가진 걸 시도 참반에 subject 하면 되네 체와 시다 계주 숨선 남의 친이 지나 대여 간데 이미 씹어가도 체와 시다 계주 숨스 그러면 subject 다운 보고도 했다 와 템바 탐지 게임에도 또 무슨 말로 당아도 차와 제외 공부 될라도 네버 니주치 보랑가도 좋아 스타 간들 남들 로는 제바이나 아니다 배치 뭐 여바 시티 시제도 뒤뒤는 자산 지시 잡사를 해서
The meaning of the Great Treatise on the Stages of the Path to Enlightenment is outlined in the headings that are 4 great characteristics of the Great Treatise. These 4 great characteristics are the greatness of enabling one to know that all of the teachings are free of contradiction, the greatness of enabling one to understand that all of the scriptures are instructions for practice, the greatness of enabling one easily to find the conqueror's intent, and the greatness of enabling one to refrain automatically from great wrongdoing. Herein, then, are in outline form the characteristics that make the Great Treatise exceptional.
뭐야 제가 이 지시 제도 담반에 당보대 데려와 당보 사지 담보 갈라서 템바 탐지 게임에도 또 템바 탐지 게임에 또 세를 템바들 룽게 템바 또 베템바 니시에 뭐래 룽게 템바 게임에도 또 봐도 또 베템바 게임에 또 니를 고고여래 손을
This verse, the greatness of enabling one to know that all the teachings are free from contradiction, no doubt means that the scriptures are free of contradiction, and the Dharma of realization too is free of contradiction.
뭐야 룽게 템바 데네 숨 아니 나 데네 규디시오 데다가 건데도 제바 탐지 아니 지 강사직 사제외 냠내 림발아야 크리스천 자르시바 고시바 주나 아니 템바 탐지 게임에도 또 와서 다들 상기 열에서
The Dharma of scripture is that of the Tripitaka, the 3 baskets in the sutras, and the 4 tantra classes. And these are for any one person basis for the achievement of enlightenment and may be understood in this sense, may be applied in this sense, and it's in this sense that then that the teachings are free of contradiction.
뭐야, 이 기단데 간데스 튀기면서나 아니 배나 가서 미직 나다 수수고 니마 뭐냠 수수고 니마 냠내게 나라 메기 주변 그 수준 민주강가 아니 온도 하면 거 반토니 줄어야 해. 아니 코알라 도게 봐 코알라 게 주보다 도베 리바데 주강가 아니 타르바토베 람제 리발라키 아니 셈제다 버진 투 누구 냠내듯이 강가 탐지 김에 고발해야 또 자르셔 봐주나 아니 다 때마 탐지 김에도 또봐 람제 봐 냠스 키워도 차그래야 손
Yeah, how is this applied in a life, in a daily practice? It is applied in the sense that the abandonment of the 10 paths of non-virtuous action, in their abandonment, becomes cause for fortunate rebirth, becomes cause too for the closing of re-entry in cyclic existence. The practice of the mind of enlightenment and the 6 perfections becomes cause for the achievement of Buddhahood, omniscient Buddhahood. This is the means, this is the meaning of teachings free of contradiction.
도대체 다 니바도 송라 말로 당하도 차러 왔어요. 제가 송라 말로 당하도 차러 왔으면 다 버게 다다기 다 되는 손으로서 송라 자가 가서 이번에 이제 탐제 아니 랑게 다 냠내 체하게 내 때문에 당하도 차러 왔어요. 고고요. 제가 네번 고와 제발하다 남리 딜 높은 제발이나 네 자동 고투가도 연구하려 손으로서
The second, the greatness of enabling one to understand that all of the scriptures are instructions for practice, is to say that in all the presentations, the meaning is presented again in pith form within the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment.
제가 틱다 안데스 키고서나 람림 때는 차샤베나 람림이 고디 고축사되다 내가다 마서 고축사지 보다데 가면 고축으로서나 고신이 된주스 나 디네 고축네 타데 거여서나 실라 베다 실라가 람 타마데 신에다 하동 그도네 디바도 그 람지 림바디게라 아니 카두를 자르셴바 아니 디리 바게 냠네 당아 가르지 튀어바이나야 양면하니 바게 신이 된주 디네면은 치 메다보다 된조 되지니가 나한테는 봐지는 코아주도 그래 봐. 근데 잠주신 거는 가도 거를 봐. 지금 여반나시 가도 것도 잘신 봐. 좋아이나 아니 나랑 게 바게 땜바 탐지 게매도 송라물로 당하도 차와서도 봐. 제가 송라 간리스 송아이나 랑게 냠내 냠술래 좀 말 잘신 봐. 니지 거래 송로지.
This is to be understood as whatever the topic may be, beginning, for instance, in the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment, we find guru devotion. From guru devotion through to the end in quiescent meditation and special insight, and everywhere in between, there are pith instructions, oral instructions on any given point, from guru devotion in the beginning to impermanence, the precious human rebirth, the means for reversal of entry into cyclic existence. In any case, on any topic, there is an application of an oral instruction to be found in the great treatise.
야, 딱 간다. 수수길 딱 람기 림바도 로로페 세버세야 차르투바다 모투비 제바 수수고 온부비 제벌그래 다 간다 가리랑기 퇴바이네 자 아니 랑게 로바이네 자 랑기 셰바이네 간디지 제바이네 디기 강가 아니 제곰다 조곰게 토는 냠수 랑네 랑게 아니 바게 냠렌다 냠랭이 미고 가르치기는 대다 카두카도 자르셴바 이 되게 잘 셴바리 중중나 아니 송라 말이 당하도 차르세야기 답에 냠내로 차상 상그래 송로지
The clarity with which the greatness of the text, the clarity with which oral instructions may be applied will depend upon an individual's intelligence as they study and as they contemplate. If they do so while simultaneously engaging in analytic meditation and stabilization meditation, then the ready oral instructions will be available to them.
어떠시 따디네 사제 마도 이나 디네 숨바도 디바 파사 예외 공부 대라니 버들데 예 진짜 예외 공부 대라도 nye 봐서 다 간다 사 아들 베다 송랍 탐지지 공부 닝부터데 아니 내가 보치니 nye 투바라 아니 남리 첨부데를 남기서 버데를 때바 이나 nye 투바다 남지서 버데달 마데바 이나 nye 까와 이바데다
And a third, the greatness of enabling one easily to find the conqueror's intent. This means that in the meanings of the scriptures, as they are presented in the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment, through that presentation in the great treatise, one will understand, be able to comprehend the conqueror's intent. But without that, without the great treatise, it is more difficult to fathom the meaning of the Buddha. If one were to rely upon the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment, the project of understanding the scriptures of the Buddha would entail great hardship, be arduous and time-consuming. But it is less difficult, comes more easily, and understanding comes more easily when one relies upon the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment, and one may understand the meanings of the scriptures more quickly in a short time.
Oh yeah, that in the combat a lot of years over the career. That in Nijung, Koale, Halveg, Lam Nijung. Oh, Tapag Nijunda. In a march in that, Yanta Betawa. And it Chanju Sims that or Tisum did that Lam did so Namsum Sirwa. Or Disum de Niabatita, Lamri the Delta Niamanda Shen, Pagay, full of Shedar, Kangal Tam, 10 children, Yama resonance.
Principally, then, it is renunciation that is basis for liberation from cyclic existence, along with right view and the mind of awakening itself that make up the three principal aspects of the path. And these are readily available in the great treatise, but more difficult to extract from the scriptures.
Oh yeah, the Lamzuna Chashavina. No tende lua mebatans, no tende lua mebatang, Tongba tende to call you with thee, and Susu Jeneta, Kadu, Kadu, the Chibamata, Susu Tawaina, and to be combato your mare. The Chigu now Tawaina, and to be combato res, or Lamdunan did the shit your resonance.
In praise to the dependent origination, so long as appearances appear distinct from Pratityat Samutpada, dependent origination, so long then does one remain confused regarding the intent of the Buddha. But when these appear simultaneously as identical, then one has fathomed the intent of the Buddha.
Oh yeah, that under Yanta Betawa Madonna. 아니 제외 공부 미도 또 내버디 뭐서 때네 아니 양답에 따와 또서나 아니 제외 공부 또 보대 슈를 때 어디 슈를 때 요래서
알까.
아
있어 보자.
안에서 잡아서 양답에 따와 뒤로 양답에 따와디 마도나 아니 제외 공부 또요 말했으니 그 대주디 다들 남들이 뭐서 때요 다디 슈를 간다 양답에 따와도 또 보이나 아니 제외 공부 시험을 또 보래스 어디 슈를 거고래서
So long as one hasn't correctly understood right view, then one necessarily remains confused regarding the intent of the Buddha. But once one does have correct view, that is equally a comprehension of the intent of the Buddha. So it follows then that with right view, correct view, one has achieved a comprehension of the meaning of the Buddha.
뭐야 다 빼져 되는데 숨을 숨을 먼저 산지 숨을 지단데 숨을 자절을 빼자로 뭐야 다 자절을 빼자 아니 다 디나게 남기 또 남숨디 아니 자절나게 누굴 빼자요 아니 장주 남지 림바디 아니 누굴래야 도야 조승도 빼자요 아니 조승 단위기다 거기 대변도데 아니 계획신이 아니 대변다보다 빼자네 아니 자주나라 자 유비 누구자 전부들 내고이나 아니 불렀던 거를 투단이 개버지면은 발림기 매바다 오 데리 디나시 아니 신이 된주 신이 된 템바테 아니 남창주 남지를 벌었대 때니 치네 아니 바게 내야게 자주나라 치네 아니 누굴래 모르고 데리지 빼자는 손으로 해서
The scriptures of the Buddha are likened to an ocean, and the three principal aspects of the path are likened to a gem deep in that ocean. And the treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment is likened to the boat, the ship that would allow one to sail into the sea. And guru devotion is likened to relying upon, depending upon the individual who is capable of captaining the ship. So if one wishes to travel out into the sea to find the gem in the heart of the ocean, one must take a ship. That ship must be captained by a capable person. That it is the guru who's the capable captain. The Lamrim, the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment, is the ship. And depending upon that captain in that ship, one may find the gem in the sea.
Oh, yeah, that is so far. Kaduchana, a very cable, Shinny Tem, and it's Chanju Lamjim, Tulapa Shoe, and it Jazuna Bachi, and it Nubulembaina, Nubulan Tugure, the cousin never said Nubulan, Rangi Benjamin Satan Tarsiba, Young Tuya, or Tender Madabaina, Nubulem Tubaina, because it's Chimbu Guguba. Oh, the Regi call yes.
Interesting the any junction is sim yaman and Lamrim.
Presume the Lamrim, Lamrim, that's a use of a quarter chore, and that's what other Lamrim Java. Lamrim Jazu, soon of jet.
So again, it is the scriptures of the Buddha are the sea, the principal aspects of the path are the gem. The great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment is the ship. The guru is the captain of the ship, and by relying upon the guru and upon the ship, one is able to travel into the sea of scripture and find the great gem therein.
Oh, yeah, that in a shiva day for a new Oh, the shiva Nijimbo Rangato was that. Then they were Goshini Temple, in it, they do to Jimita Saba say, and it may be the Lando, the same jail soba, Tameto, the Mugol, the Sabaina, rebutted that Banjan is on the Lamji rebutted, then they get the Yams Labaina, and that 랑게 미디초 예주 카리나야 가투바 디 용거를 손으로
The series of meditations outlined in the text, from contemplation of momentariness to the practices to adopt and reject, to the mind of enlightenment and the absence of the twofold self, and the rest are, when practiced, the very means for eliminating any behaviors that are inconsistent.
어예 신이 땜발라 때네 신이 마뎀베 레집가가 장도 그래 아니 메타바 콜 삼도탄도 아니 세 미지티게 니주가 랑가 차상 가도 그래 아니 셈제지 편에 삼발라 때네 랑진색이 예바가 가도 그래 근데 다음에 또 베셔 공발라 때네 단지기 예바가 가도 그러잖아 근데 님보르르 니주 차상 바가 두고 이바인데 아니 랑아미들 땜바이나 아니 안다르 파게 미디쇼 강가 좀버스 까바 체토야 돼 냠len 차상 여바 이디 아니 달라미들 된 표현되게 시기 어려서 뭐지
Through proper guru devotion, the behaviors that are inconsistent with proper guru devotion are eliminated. Through meditation on momentariness, misguided assumptions regarding phenomena are eliminated. Through contemplation of the benefits of the mind of enlightenment, pathological self-interest and self-love are eliminated. Through meditation on the absence of the self, the mind that grasps at the ostensible self is eliminated, and in this way, then the meditations in the text are the very means and direct antidote to behaviors that are inconsistent with what is intended.
배전한다 가서 탕가팅을 배자라 탕가팅이 되라니 탕가치야가 레시다 선다 아니 버티야기 유 비르다 아니 다디게 차진 망고지 거러 봐 차진 망고 디게 강갈로 아니 탕가디 티야기 차진을 고고유 봐또 튕진을 고고유 봐다 디게 찌게 패마도 찌게 매봐 그게 차상 고고유 봐들이 셰바지 고고유 봐 나시스 아니 다 고신이 된주네 전에 아니 그냥 된주니가 메다바 자주센 고마 다음에 고마 이게 차상로 랑기 산지야기 냠내는 수 튕기는 고고유 봐 지금 봐 돌미로 와 어디든지 셰소나 아니 담바담지 게메도 셰바선 자기 열에서
Yeah. Just as a scroll painter requires the parchment, the paints, the brush, and each piece of equipment is indispensable to the project, to the process. One and all are necessary to the painting. In the same way, each and every component of the series of practices, from guru devotion through contemplation of momentariness, through contemplation of the mind of awakening and the absence of the ostensible self, and all of the rest of the meditations, all of them are the very basis, the necessary conditions for the achievement of Buddhahood. None is dispensable, all are indispensable.
Oh yeah, that is subject he 아니 람림이 냠내 제가 있나? 사평 가지 유매. that is 또 시험을 치고야 돼. 세상 알아서 람지를 받들어 터선 제가 있나? 아니 까지 매배 토네다 랑이 냠내 차상 시험에 맞았다 랑이 밖에 중고야다. 바까고야 예제도 거배 남산로서 뉴라 까지 매봐. 뉴도 까도 받는 게 배워 유바이들 아니 맞아 람림은 다 진행 책으로 해세. 진행 집에 배우다 아니 진행 책 고바도 시비 열에서
It is in this sense too that the greatness of the text is that it enables one to know that all of the teachings are free of contradiction. And if one understands this and one studies and contemplates understanding this, then one will be able to achieve a great deal without the hardship that would otherwise be required to accomplish the ends of practice, to bring an end to practices that ought to be dispensed with. All of this happens more quickly, more effortlessly. And this is what underlies our activity of instructing in the Dharma and studying the Dharma. This is its purpose.
Oh yeah, that parent that shape the corner and it's a Lamrim, but a logo do love not keep it and do some shape the corner and it belong to draw the jet. Kuluya, what you are asking some similar about lovers, love the pay. That didn't shape the language and body language, Lama Chetuba short, Chetuba Chigi is and the Kuluya, what you Kulunji, Shira casing, but that's one.
It is critical to refine one's intention as an extension of this, in recognition of the benefits of studying the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment, with the understanding that to study this text brings great advantages, that I would and should study this text and will. Thinking along these lines, then one really must refine one's intention to practice the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment, to commit oneself to being able to comprehend the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment. Refine your intention accordingly.
Oh yeah, that draw around Dubai, any love to Kangi Meva. Dubai Mena, Kazula in a Kamachik in a Pokangi, you call Dubai Melarale, you don't talk about so semi debate on the draw what catch more else.
Having an enthusiasm and an interest is necessary. Where there's no enthusiasm and there's no interest, then any activity will be painful. But where there is interest and enthusiasm, no matter the hardships involved, one is able to meet them.
Oh yeah, that comes to Sanju Lamjin, but a lot on the Karachidan, Tamushi, Motamonro, Mushi, Juxin, the Badikon, and Laborations.
So then how does one approach the great treatise? Through the preliminary practices, through the actual meditations, and through the conclusion.
Oh yes, that Mondo that Chanju, Mushi Chanju, Sam Yindi, Chanju, Sam Jula, Jebala, Mondo Joy, Chu to the Masana. Any Mintibato, you are Cheda Mondo Joy, Chu to the Mola Yabosi. She what a shame is Chidula, Joy, Chu, and the Joy, Chu, about the Joy, Chu, Tuba. And then Sunday, so what they were, you may not have Jebas. Oh, that thing of the direction, something else.
As the actual meditation is the mind of awakening itself, this requires preliminary practices. The 6 preliminary practices, should they be absent, would be problematic. So we attend to the 6 preliminary practices, the first 5 of which we have completed.
What is so you may not have ever Chawani, Saddle. This one.
And the 6th Allez, de glucose and and the 6th, infusing your mind making supplications ardently according to the instructions.
Oh, yeah, that and that doesn't go to transit. Tangandu tanda kondu she tege, ani tokwa tegi de rangi gyula jebar chebala, ani da soa deba kechimbo shiracha, soa deba de mena, ani chilaku tokwa rangi gyula jebar de yomara, chilaku tokwa rangi gyula jebar chebala, soa deba le rali gyor cheda tambo, be menga be lama tanga o yeme chene soa deba di, ani nyamle nechi chagi yore sonos.
The supplication is critical to receiving the blessings of the Guru Yidam. For developing realization in the mind, the supplication to the Guru and the Yidam is necessary. The blessings are conferred and received insofar as supplications are made, and the Guru and the Yidam are perceived as indivisibly one.
Oh, yes, that in Central Karachene is na Rangi Jula, Yamdo Jula Kevala, Chilap, Rangi Jula, Chilap Shubala, Rally Race, Chilap Shubure, Chilap Shubala, Soata, Soa Madame, Rana Chilap Shubumasina, Soata, Soata, and Chilap Shubure, and Chilap Shutuna, and that Rangi Jula, and Yamdo Keva, the Yogi or Resonance.
Why is it so? Experience and realization arises in the mind only by the force of blessings. Blessings come to abide in the mind only when the supplication has been first made. Without a supplication, there will be no blessing. Without the blessing, no experience and realization. But with the supplication, the conferral of the blessing, from the blessing, the experience and realization.
Oh, yeah, that's so the that's so the sick. But Yamlemba Susu, Lama Susu, and Sunday, Kashik Sunday, Mosul, but Deni, and so whatever you're Kashik bay, that's sick Maduma, you will share washing so whatever the day you're on the canis, that's on the day de la and Sunday, but Yamlemba Suzu, Yamlemba Mila, the day you're response.
Well, the verses of supplication are in some cases voiced, and when they're voiced, then they're voiced in the different traditions. And in other cases, they are thought, mentally reflected upon. And in the tradition where they are voiced, in fact, voiced, then their voicing will differ between the different lineages.
Oh, yeah, that's another Lamrim Kurang. Sunday loss. Giorgio Kesant in Gens in the Koran lost the magic, Yamaji or that Deton should be your resonant. Giorgio Kesant, yes.
In the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment, the supplication is set apart as the ornament to the throat of the fortunate.
Oh, yeah, Giorgio Godiva, not Tambo de Godela, Mother Giorgio to do some Tambota. 6 sheet and do Pandets Lama Remboche, Daginiga permutation. Cutting Chenmo Kusun to Junguru Zeto, Stambo Sunday with 6 quality to
The first four lines of the supplication on the ornament to the throat of the fortunate. Oh, glorious and precious root guru, please sit atop my head on cushions of lotus and moon. In your great kindness, please hold me and bestow spiritual attainments of body, speech, and mind.
Oh, yes, that Kusun to Junguru Zeto, Sunday with 6 hours. There were Kusun to you that. So sing is so singly gave any that go in the sung in the two in the summer. I don't know how to sing it up to serves. Or that they do somebody Sunday Chidu Zamba. And it does it Janda Chen and Sunday Chigre, yes, horse.
These root verses, these lines are the supplication requesting that the qualities of body, speech, and mind of the merit field be accomplished personally, that the merit field make possible the personal accomplishment of the qualities of body, speech, and mind exemplified in the merit field. And as the supplicatory verses are voiced, then the visualization of the descent and purification of nectars too is performed.
Oh yeah, that the we got to down this much Javajina. And that so Tading around that so Sushin Gom there that you joy children Shiba Sushin set up Sharon doing a Sushin set up your Sushin set up a dinner and that Sushin that so the Rangita Lama and the top of the Sushin or the Ganga and the Rangi Jew payment Jula payment didn't the way they dig on and set up and the Ganga didn't much change and the Rangi Jula shoe and Rangi Jula shoe and Rangi Lunga is singing lovely. And the Lunga using the that between the Jan Jambatan to be any day Quebec. They take me when you change Yamachiku your response.
Maybe Nini.
Oh, no, I would that Rangi. Porque seeing a Madebegi, you meet to part down and what you say. And she is down and a rangi julata. Twingy set on sonum and it's exaggerated that young dog, what he gave it. Give it, never said the knees and she was.
Then to explain the meaning of these verses in some more detail, one has visualized the merit field before one. And the merit field is the root guru surrounded by the rest of the merit field. Then from the merit field, the Pemada and the Dawati Susuki Chula.
So him that ranking so she that so she Tadang so she Nanga set up your Rangi Chu de that Soshi de Randa Nibas, that's Lama de Randa Nibas, Rangi Chu Marchun, and Rana Chi Lamia Marchun, Sambachora, Chen, Chul Chongol, Sunu Sambani, Chul Desadilla, no all payments, payment on the David, Jodi on the Shubas,
One makes a supplication and invites the merit field to the lotus and moon disk atop one's crown. There, a replica of the root guru is invited to situate itself, and there, by situating itself, it confers the blessings of body, speech, and mind upon oneself. This eliminates the behaviors that have been inconsistent with, this purifies the behaviors that have been inconsistent with proper guru devotion. When those negative karmas inconsistent with proper guru devotion are expiated, then the achievement of all other good qualities can come to pass and does. So then with the invitation of the replica of the root guru to the crown of one's head, to the lotus and to the moon disk atop one's crown, one should visualize in this way that negative karmas inconsistent with proper guru devotion are expiated, and achievements which follow from the purification of these come about. These two go on in the supplication.
Oh yeah, that didn't payment on the sugar chodi, rang chalk and lawyer did too much around too much in it. You know, but don't then shoot and issue where they call Jula mud, Randani bus, she was your in the Randani bus, Rangi Jula, shoot where to the that is Soshing doing the Leata, Paget Soshing Leat, send the sugar, Shuag, Mojing, Modrish, or did sweaters, any Korangita, Karichigrisna, and that they give that other the Sunday Shinier Rang Kogita, Sanju Lambu Rimbagi. Any time you dedicate a laundry to till a love a shit and call a change love chase in more changing, but more dredging and sweaters in the matter should be a resonance.
Then the talking the cup and the digger off. Mari talking chitan, turn line, cup.
So she the
Mari
to color there,
not color there.
not to color there. 다리네 소신의 란데 니버스 소대의 란기 지울데 란가 각 소신을 랑 소신을 발로나시 어디 소신이 란데 니버데 소신을 봐 카테 아니 다시 콜래 소신을 다 손대 쉬고로 와 시도 좀 받다 근데 란데 니버데 안 콜라도 모두 진 콜라 콜라 람람게 람대로 지 고지라다 콜라 근데 로비아게 신이 신이 때문에 밀로도 숨주 봐도 콜라 로비아게 되고도 다 콜라 없어야 다 콜라 로비아게 지도 아니 진질라고 지 주로징이 들어가거든.
The visualized merit field faces one, and from the merit field comes a replica of the root guru who situates himself upon one's crown, facing the same direction that you yourself face, facing the merit field. And this replica of the root guru is an ambassador to the merit field, your ambassador to make your supplication to the merit field, that saying this, as it were, this person intends to train in the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment. Confer upon them the blessings that they may do so and may meet with all the good results of doing so, success from the beginning in Guru devotion all the way through the union of shamatha and special insight. Confer blessings upon this individual that they may be able to succeed in training in the great treatise.
아니 남리 물렁이 차시 또 지기리 미치 단다 식시단에 타마디 식시시시시요 시기 타마디 살니니니 예 교류열에서 고송 그 모르 때도 소살이고 이 소지 아이가 그들은 봤어 거의 빠샤시 와 소지 빠샤시 어디 다
럽신 슈베 때리기 뭐야?
무슨 소리야?
Mira, nel giovane
비가마 무슨
무슨
도중 모르겠어 어디 무슨 도중 모르겠어 살니라 그래서
the fourth line of these first four lines, O glorious and precious root guru, please sit atop my head on cushions of lotus and moon. In your great kindness, please hold me and bestow spiritual attainments of body, speech, and mind. That last line, and bestow spiritual attainments of body, speech, and mind, is to be recited twice.
야, 제가 가르치는 사람이 다왜 그래서 잘 담보 가둘라 라베 가둘라 얘기마다 조신에 마지 니버지 마 덴디슈랑 지울 레어가 제가 대다 뒤냠돌라 마녀 왜냠돌라 아니 뒤지 배장치 왔다 뒤지다 왜세 마 빠마 펜심보마 빠도나 봐 봐야 미버지 아니 랑기 지울라 마 팀데 라마데 팀 also did the Yemen Tim Zone and the Miguel to the resonance.
Then the answers of the Lama Ranga
anybody Ranga good wa. Let do them in my social and Duzip Bamema Pop. Any Jew Lama de la Paz. The Galma Potilla Tim did the Yemen to Jezon about Miguel. Lama Teta.
The reason this line is repeated twice is that in the first recitation of it, the supplication is made to the merit field, and as that supplication is made the first time, the qualities of the merit field stream from the merit field as light and nectar, and these streams enter the root guru, the replica of the root guru at one's crown, the descent of light and nectar is immeasurable, and it fills the replica of the root guru and becomes indissolubly one with the root guru. This is the visualization during the first recitation.
Oh, yeah, that nibetse, and it chew with the lama di, and it kurangi modi, and it pando yending rashi yimbache. See, there's one. Number the duzik, senga, number yimba, the regima pamni, and it rangche, and the rangi tago to Samjek. Kazu Miba Kazu Simja Tamji Miba Chego said, and Kazu Miba Chiti in the theatre, Lungalama, Shusung, Sambasi Miba Chego response.
And Ludang la Shusons.
Oh, Lunga, Lunga, Yusuma, Shuba Miba Cheson.
And in the second recitation, the replica of the root guru at one's crown, who in essence is the thorough abandonment of all that is to be abandoned and complete realization of that which is to be realized, and who is in appearance of light and nectar. This replica of the root guru at one's crown then dissolves into oneself, and when the visualization includes all sentient beings as well, then into all sentient beings as well, the qualities of the root guru at the crown abiding in the body, speech, and mind of oneself and all sentient beings.
Oh, yeah, that Lunga Yusum la Shu de and Archigers, Lunga Yusum la, Adamadu Lunga Yusum Dinala, and one of the Jawa Tuma Mevan and Sabe, Digua, that Tiba. And that Hadamadu Lamrim the Janshima Gadula. And Samotawa Nida, Yachibe Chuba de la Diorata, Yachibe Chuba de Gula Kiala, Cake Parji, or Tizu Tamji Pa, Chang with me what your response. So, Lumala shoots at Lumala, you just shoot Laga Karchikorasna, and Madu Lunga Nala, Toman and Sabbath, Digua the Chibayora, oh, Toman and Sabbath, Digua, Tibache. 아니 that Lamrim shebege 야치베 줘봐도 사모타와도 줄에 깨라 발도 발제시 이게 깨 가리나 되게 봐 장배 봐 시와도 장배 미과 채소 장송 선배 미과 채고려서
with the abiding of the qualities of the root guru at one's crown, in one's body, speech, and mind, then all negative karmas and stains from beginningless time are purified, and one conceives of all the hindrances to the development of realization in accordance with the path of extensive practice and the lineage of profound view. All hindrances and obstructions are, by the force of the blessing dwelling in body, speech, and mind, eliminated.
Oh, yeah, that did an under from the Migo Chitugudu. I never rang Luke Shaji Tana to Sajik Luke. Pesharu to Jig Lucy, that Luti, Sajik Lutia Pachani, Uji Rashin Chilibet. Guen maybe with Samegi, Rashijik is Lulu by your song, but the Migo response.
And along with this, the contaminated physical aggregate of this body, a body of flesh and blood, is conceived too as having been purified and becoming luminous and uncontaminated.
Oh, that didn't number wrong. You did that. Harip Jana, you did Karcheva Kiosna, Twin Seda Sonum, and the Lunda Tobe, you did the Yapa Geson, so then. By Geson, again by Gaber Cheson, some of the response.
And with this, then, too, one's merit and life force, too, is conceived of as having grown and increased in one's mind.
Oh, yeah, that in it sounds you lumber, but then shebek. 아니 야채에 람지를 받아 사면 람지를 받아 다한다. 아니 랑기 타고 되게 선제 탐지기 줄라가 계속 그러면 이거 지키고 저거 해서
And the realizations of the lineage of extensive deeds and a profound view, these two involved in the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment, are imagined or conceived to have then arisen, the realizations to have arisen in one's mind and in the minds of all sentient beings.
뭐야 다디 미국 제단 차단 과다다디 즉 저쪽 즉 당부 시디기 가서 미국 제가 차단치를 해서
In these first four lines, then, these are the visualizations involved.
뭐야 어쨌든 집어자야 될 루기 집어자야 나기 집어자야 당부 르가기 집어직자 아니 이기 집어자 데스 제벌 권위법을 제벌돼서 열에서
First, the defilements to body and speech are purified, and then the defilements to mind are purified.
먼저 뒤지 전두자 뭐 뒤지만 바베텔 뒤지다 외세니 바고도 뒤지다 외세니 바고야디 먼저 집어자야들 르가 집어직 장고를 이기 집어직 장고 르가지 집어자야들 뒤지 아니 이기 집어자야들 또 외세 어디를 지는 장고를 해서
Nectar and light purifies. That which is to be purified are the defilements to body, speech, and mind. Defilements to body and speech are purified by nectar. Defilements to mind are purified by light.
디제다디 수수기 니만니면다 냠네 데디 치토나 다 조르지오기 냠네 나라 디게디 여러서다 디게디 냠네 치토나 아니 시라 팬도 첨부 여러서
If one is able to practice in this way, following the preliminary practices, and incorporate this in one's daily practice, then there are considerable benefits.
뭐야 디지벨자 페르다 디지벨자 시고 고가 대징아도 가는 얘기는 봐 아데 소마다나 질럽 주고 말에 질럽 마주나 또바제 말세다 또바제라 질럽 슈고 소와다고 세다다 냠네디 고고 여래서
I explained this to deny that failing to make a supplication, there'll be no blessings. Without the blessings, there'll be no experience and realization. But with the supplication and the blessings that ensue, then experience and realization too will follow.
오야 다디 뭐지 아니 다데가도 양 티오텔레 체세를 줘야다 근데 요거를 다티네 사진 입어대 잠반냐면 연바 좀 된데서 거기 지금 다 이웃도 잠반냐면 연바 좀 제사 담아지 좀 제외론데 파바 통매시 없다디 규바시고 당도 다들 질럽이 규바되라 질럽 선대편 질럽이 규바되라 야제 제주다 상못다 유 대체순이 이제 송구 열에서
In our Q&A, we can resolve any doubts or clarify anything that needs to be clarified. And as we proceed in the verse, the next line begins, Master Bhagavan, unparalleled leader, the exalted savior, Ajit, supreme Dharma successor, and Arya Sangha prophesied by the conqueror. I make supplication to the feet of these three, the Buddha and the two Bodhisattvas. Here presented are the two lineages of extensive deed and profound view.
오야 다 자진주의도 사무다 유니라는 단다디 셰디 아니 자진주의 잠내 질럽 냐면 자진주의게 유백이 질럽 쉬야게 손대 붙이게라 아니 어떤다 잠반냐면서 식식이 요렇게 어려서
아니 담보디 아니 무슨 틱 아니 시가 되기
정보 시도 정보 시도 어디게 다 자진주의를 아마도 방하지 마땡이 어려서
First here, the exalted savior Ajit, supreme Dharma successor. These four lines are presenting the lineage blessings, the blessings of the lineage of extensive deeds.
오야 다 간다 자진주의도 사무다다디 지난 사무 자진주의가 돌아 잠반냐면 좀 된 데스도 잠반냐면 좀 됐다 잠반냐면 자숨되들 떼버치다다 수수고 떼버치다 리니를 다 켐배고는 떼버치다다 아니 제거는 첨부다 제원이부터 간데다 dü제를 껴버 제발라 dü제게 거기 껴버 제발라 첨부다 제원이 내도 메로와 첨부다 제원이가 상황이나 아니 심지어는 껴 두고 이어봐 첨부다 제원이가 직 마스 이거 직 상황이나야 껴 두고 매봐 어디 저기 천정의 지도라 아니 다다들 냠내치야 될 거라 야지 주고 사무도 주고 냠내들 딜 빼자는 송구 열에 손하지
Master Bhagavan, unparalleled leader. This begins a praise, and the praise is of the two characteristics that are indispensable in the Buddha. They are the wisdom and the love of the Buddha. For the purpose of pacifying any disciple to be tamed, these two are necessary. Where they are absent, there is no protecting, there is no pacification of any disciple. So these two are required, and these two are present. And here in the presentation of the lineage of extensive deeds, this praise is sung.
아니 투지 첨보다 나와 장주가 쌤다 나와 인도 렘바 인도 아니 뒤제 콜을 렘바네 렘바냐메 봐 수강을 제대 렘미 투가 되게 심지어 콜을 렘바라 배 다음에 봐 되게 신자 콜을 렘바냐메 신미 두스티시 경고 열어서
The Bhagavan, unparalleled leader. The Bhagavan is unparalleled for the love, for the mind of awakening that they possess. The mind of awakening and the compassion of the Bhagavan are what allow the Bhagavan to extricate sentient beings from cyclic existence. And so the Bhagavan is praised here as unparalleled leader.
어쩌지다 다지 미과 제리 다지 가서 공도 시야나 시래다 전반이 식지 당부 시가도라 다 여기 소신기 나네 얘기 쳐들라 가려서 소신기 얘기 쳐들라 아니 다 자진 주주고 라마도 코요 자진 주주고 라마 다다들이 배전에 막 방한 제외는 참가 제외는 주시도죠 주시 자진 주주고 라마 다 전반에 또 점된 대해서는 사제스던지 손에 두발 아니 이바들은 에버더만이 좀 주는데 예서 담바치 좀 이범고도 저 잡아고 예 좀전에 저 잡아고 아니 진짜 밀어만 주바들 통화들 하고 통해 건도 숨 당고래 건도 숨나 아니 소화대 아니 뒤지 배장 쳐고래 해서지
In the organization of the merit field, in its arrangement, the lineage of vast deeds is on the right side. And the lineage of vast deeds includes 14 individuals, and they begin with these first three, the Buddha Bhagavan, followed by the exalted Savior Ajit, Maitreya, and then by the human Arya Sangha. These are the first three. As the supplication is made to these first three, then the purification, the descent and purification by nectar and light is performed.
아니 디네란데 양 사니바 되는 아니 디네마 뒤지 법상 채워나시 채워를 해서
And again, at the end of these four lines, and Arya Sangha prophesied by the conqueror, I make supplication to the feet of these three, the Buddha and the two Bodhisattvas. So here with the final line, this final line is repeated twice. I make supplication to the feet of these three, the Buddha and two Bodhisattvas, as one visualizes the qualities of the merit field streaming from the merit field into the replica of the root guru at one's crown, and then again the qualities in the replica at the crown in light and nectar dissolve again into oneself, and this is the sequence again.
두서부터 단다 거기 지당에 소신 세다가 소신 나는다 예 먼저 자제 주주고 남아요. 소신 지당 아니 제발 믹스에 코다 산지 아니 소신의 chuẩn备 전바제 저 전바제 봐봐 통면 숨다 수도 아니 소왔다 벌 때네 소왔다 비긴 제발 때네 뒤지 저거 세마 법 뒤지에서 딱 유유만 뭐 편치고 봐도면 뭐 봐보라 밥 아니 다지들 하는 이버 마 된장샤에는 하는 이버 근데 예매처 삼바체 하는 이버 그래서 수로 매버지 거두 된장은 지고 소왔다 아니 뒤지 별장체 아니 라운드 타고 숨제 탐제라 마 슈거 미과체 가르치는 되게 여러 손
ale 아니 전전 되네 신의 전전 아니 슈거였습니다. 그때 아니 랑자 니부디 아니 소소 치워라 아니 슉슉 버와.
다 다지도 말에 가지고 이 이체로와 소신 찌를 상당로와 대신 당부 특지 시부디기 아마 제발 소신 코랑 마 되듯이 아니네 라는 이바도 지울 쉬어요와 다 단다 세탑 마다네 디고다 세탑네 야 디고 세 마다세 아니 다 라는 이바 유여받을 삼었당 디니마 쇼드랑 마 고숨 디바타마스 미고시나 디고
Ale di kebar di gotsumasa.
말다 디 다잉이 고 당보대 차상 죄송아
라.
어다 디도 다 다이 산다 다이 당보대 소신 찔을 세다로
라.
더 고다 왔다 단다디 소신 찔내는 듣고 숨을 믹스 콘도 숨을 좋았다고
라.
좋았다 아니 콘도 숨을 주지 주제 밥바치나 세래요 소신이 모아서 봐서
라. 아.
콘도 숨을 좋았다 주지 부전체 주지 밥 아니 랑을 롱아서 삼제는 마시고 아니 되지 버렸어.
아니 근데 아니 숨들라니 소 답나 데 랑자 니버치 아니 덴진 슈거를
랑자 니버 슈모고치 슈모고 마고 차려봐. 당신은 지고 마시고지 근데 랑이 지고를 마시고 랑슈 아니 롱아에 숨을 쉬고 버는 거잖아. 강마 차서. 자 지고지는 여기서 봐. 세우차는
따르지 아니 소신이 아니 소 마타바시네 아니 고숨라 아니
남았다 소았다 뒤집밥
아니 렘바 니기 밥수 되는 말와
렘바니 밥는 들알래 뭐 뒤집밥을 하는 거 렘바 니 뭐가지 알아 뒤집밥 밥은 때문에서 그 제일 저거다 내가 권을 시하고는 뒤집밥은 이세 쪽으로 와 랑때 바디마 밥랑 건조술로 소았다를 괜찮네 아니 건조술로 뒤집밥 아니 랑다 타고 심제 탐제기 류선의 슈베 미바치로 제손
Now here for these three for the Bhagavan, Maitreya and Arya Sangha, when these three are set aside as three from the lineage of extensive deeds, they haven't got to be incorporated in the entirety of the merit field. For simplicity's sake, if one were to set these three aside, make the supplication to them, and then perform the descent and purification of nectars, visualized as flowing from them directly into one's crown and into the crowns of all sentient beings, this visualization would be sufficient. One hasn't got to involve oneself in the entirety of the visualization of the merit field. It would be fine to set the three aside as three representatives of the lineage of extensive deeds, to supplicate them, and for there to be the direct descent of purificatory light and nectar from them into one's crown. With the descent of the purifying light and nectar, conceive of all negativities and obstructions which have hindered the development of realization in the lineage of extensive deeds are entirely purified.
아니 가르치스나 대소하다발라 때니 아니 랑기 줄라다 연대 탐제 세다 손을 롱도기 연대다 아니 이제 람리 뜻이 또 봤다 잠주고 셈니 줄라께 랑기 줄라바 계속 삼미 바체들에 손을
And with the second recitation of the final of the 4 lines, you conceive of all qualities arising in one's mind, all the qualities stemming from training in the great treatise, including the 2 minds of enlightenment arising in one's mind. So conceive.
오야 다 디니마기 라마 심바도 그가 미과치다 라마 숨숨숨로 미과치다한테 배제 코라시다진 되르시에 요레스 대단히 라마디게 당가디마 미라비 예소로스
Ah.
디마 라마 마고 주시요로 자제주요 라마 주시요로와 어디 뒤집혀져도 지단도 라마 숨숨숨체는 뒤집혀져 제 그리고 송샤요로와 어쩌다 내가 당도 주시디 미디 마 합 쇼위 예소로스
Following this are the remainder of the names of the 14 and the 14, and these are presented in groups of 3. I will quickly mention each by name.
오예 다디 당고치 당고들 고고들 덤바상게 좀 되네 자와 참바제 되네 파고 통면 숨 들어서서 오예 다디네 디 파고 통면게 제가 수요스나 이로 이니게 제가 이니게 로마 람르데 아니 좀바 되데 오 거기 숨치기 어려서
The first group of 3 is the Bhagavan, Exalted Savior Ajit, Arya Sangha. The second group of 3, Pasubandhu, Arya Vimuktasena, and Bhadanta Vimuktasena.
오예 다디오데라 민중모든 이제 초대시고 우리 조진나는 여러 다리나 초대체 디오데라 뒤에대체 디오라 남나데스 콘도 숨으셔
The next group of 3 is of Paramasena, Vinitasena, and Vairocana.
오 대순저가 다디오데라 주시 이제 생기상부 직제 디오다 디가 생기상부지 주바르셔 생기상부지 디자가 예나랑 고슬리 주지바제 아니 진짜 겨와제 중이바제 이제 콘도 숨지 그러셔
Followed by Haribhadra, who is the 10th, Kusali, the 11th, and Kusali the younger, the 12th.
오야 대디도 전주도랑 아니 슬링바제제 아니 신도 좀 마음에 세제 아니 점도 제외 좀 어디 줍시들에서
Followed again by the final group of Suvanadvipa, Dipamkara, Marmedzit,
아니 저 dom도
and Dromtompa.
어디 남아 줍시 자지 주주고 남아 줍시스나 어디래서
And so these are the 14 gurus of the lineage of extensive deeds.
오야 대다 남아 숨숨숨 특제 시시를 남아 숨숨숨이어라 대다 남아 숨숨숨라 아니 소와다 아니 뒤집어장이 지고래서
And so it is these triads from the lineage of extensive deed are praised in these quatrains.
오야 저 뒤집어장 제도 또다 바치바 바장야 되라 지단다 뉴모벨 레기 티바 차산제 레기 티바 차산 셰모와제 레기 티바 차산 가라 아니 소 자지 주주기 다 람기 또바 줄라 깨와라 깨다 깨 가리나 디기 바 장와 미바제 아니 디 장와라 때네 아니 랑기 줄라다 랑기 세다 손놈 아니 개버도 아니 자치에 남제는 바티가 랑기 줄라 깨손 삼바 베들 랑기 줄라 랑기 샘다 자치가 랑기 바티가 예매도 최송 삼바 어디 데미고자 아니니들에 손으로
Through the supplication, karmic stains are purified. With the purification of karmic stains and the purification of all obstacles to realization, one then develops great merit and life force and realization, and conceive of yourself as conceive of your mind as having become indissolubly one with the lineage of extensive deeds and their realizations.
Oh, yeah, that judging you, that Lama Tigela, so at it. So on the shoe, so at the change, you zip up, and that language you get Tamjepa Jang, Yajin Tamjep, Yajin Tamjepa Jang, and in Tunjin, and a language set of sonum, and it did a Yandola Rangular, and a Chanju with so Chanju with Sim. And they do like Java, the language sent the Sanju Sim Yemen to Java to do with that, me what Java to zip up Jan, Tibator, and a Jaji Chuju will love you to Batige. And drink that they shot. And young Tobasa Jota, Karina, this is a library called Sherry Sevayina. And this castle dread, low US, and of the church in the chickens.
The supplication performed in this way with the descent of light and nectar purifies obstacles, karmic defilements, and after their purification, one gains merit, life force, the two minds of enlightenment, and one's mind in its realization becomes indistinguishable from the realization of the lineage of extensive deeds. Now, this is the sequence for the supplication and the performance of the descent of purification, purificatory nectar and light. Now, we'll conclude here, and if there are any questions, we can have a discussion to clarify any doubts that remain.
Yeah.
Excuse me for a moment.
Oh, yeah, and it, continence, and then Anzo get up and I send it to you, Manzuinata. Did it rota. When I Luigi Tibat and Margaret Tibas, down to me, you hang. Papa get you the letter, let and you more than lay ni she was that, and you more than you do it on the young egg, later you more the tower chela. Do the present. Yamin Shirak catch over his.
So yeah, ask your questions and understand that the there are karmic stains of speech and physical action, and karmic stains of speech and physical action underlie suffering and are cause for suffering. Suffering itself caused by karmas and klesha, karma klesha, the karma and the mental afflictions. And thus, to eliminate, to purify these karmas, we engage in the descent of, we perform the descent of light and nectar that purifies.
People to us,
So, to your question.
Yes, I think you presented 5 groups of lineage holders, and in the 4th group, I think instead of the locus theory, is that the same as Rodney's Dina? Second, the 3rd one.
아니 칩시디 아니 장케케 나서 아니 데 아니 겨웨 맹아 군진 쿠살리 브로큰 세웨 젠젠 게와친 what is the question again?
I'm looking at liberation in the palm of here. And is Ratnasena the same person as small Kasala?
Da de kongiche de
given me cousin Kuzali said,
겨웨 맹아 군진 쿠살리 what's the first name? The first, what is it?
Hari Bahadra.
Yeah, but your question, can you just repeat it one more time? Sorry.
I'm looking at the list of the same kind of lineage holders, and I thought maybe I heard or I got it wrong versus what's in here. Of the 4 groupings, if I go down 1, 2, 3, the 4th group that leads with Hari Bahadra, then there's Kasali, and then I thought there was small Kasali or little Kasali. Is that the same as Ratnasena?
Okay, Ratnasena said to Yoro, Ani Drokun Sewe and Jizin Gavachin Dirbe. Ale Chibure.
Kosali Chijungis, Tanado, Kosali Chijungis. When you jiggle your chance, but the Kuni was in the many mean Tanado, that got me to Chitamba, and was the singer Samatando. Never did it to go. Manga Kunzimba, Kusalis, Kusali Cheche. And then Drugun Savage is the Gawachins, and the Gawachins, the Kusalis in the one. But in meaning the Minka, and that you got, I mean, Kusalis said the Gawachins said your one. Digi sick and that of the Chigwara in a meat, neat tango. At the wall, the tango person, a wall of Troy, Tebin Sumla, so what is that one? Misum with Mintanga.
That's one. Ani Ratnasena said to Yoro, Ratnasena said it. Ratnasena da ani Kusali Chuma di Chigurbe.
I remember they say how much. I didn't tell you that me, you not lost Tangra. Tang the water ceiling, but Tanga.
Now, about the Ratnasena, I don't know exactly, but here in the Harivajra, Kusali the elder and Kusali the younger, here we have three, Haribhadra, Kusali the elder, and Kusali the younger, and beneath that it says, I make supplication to these 3 guides of beings. So these are 3 distinct individuals. But about the Ratna, right?
And that's English. Limba Marwa.
Ratnasena the Ale the Selimpa Gimina. Selimbi Gitsena. It's not clear right here.
It may just be a little bit different here. That's all.
That's quick. The Ming and Chitang Kibaramato.
Basically, many very young. Not Jimmy, but not them. 민도 논라 민도
Not here.
양의 제일 양주 장 세시 제일 현다 딴 나.
So let me come back with a clear response to that later.
Yeah, it's but
Others?
I was curious with the practice of the 35 confessional Buddhas, if Joshua can add any other insight in the result of practicing this visualization versus the one for the 35 confessional Buddhas. If there's additional commentary on that.
아니 속싱디다 아니 소아답네 아니 밑바탕한테 열어 내네 아니 하 숨쉬송아 열어
상지 순서.
상기 숨쉬송아 열어 이게 동샤기 아니 상기 대다기 밑바탕한다 이게 밑바탕한다기 아니 펜연 기케퍼 아니 밑바탕한다기 기케퍼 기가마치 서시 나오지
일단 간제 상지 순지 성아지 소신기 잠깐만 열에 식성어서 뭐.
So first of all, the 35 confession Buddhas are members of this merit field.
디직시. 다디네 소 상지 순지 성아가 냠내 치디 맞아 냠내 치단 그 베게 토네. 가다가도 뒤지 배장 미과치단 저우스다 상지 순지 성아라야 뒤지 배장 미과티 제 열에 식성어서.
Furthermore, in the practice of the 35 confession Buddhas, this sequence of descent of purificatory nectar and light is also available as a practice method for the 35 medicine Buddhas, the 35 confession Buddhas.
딱 한다 산지 숨주성하게 냠내 지단 찍 양코랑 믹세 디바샤베 샤베게 요나라 냠내 지단 시험도 근데 또 산지 숨주성하게 냠내 시기 열어서
No.
샤바
No.
샤바게 냠내 제가 나라
No.
아니 산지 산데 동샤데 또 샤베게 냠내 토 대시 경고로 봐 그래서 샤바치도 딕샤치도 아니 냠내 제야지 산지 숨주성하게 믹스 가는 냠내 지단 찍 아니 동샤 초가서 그런 로스 열어서
No, the ritual practice and visualization of the confession Buddhas is a practice dedicated particularly to confession practice, used particularly in the practice of confession, and so it is set apart or used in this way.
아니 지도미 버치도 좀 봐. 야선이 수수한 하나에 갑상진이 소화때 미버치들이 제여는 소신을 세다. 소신하는 선이 순수하게 양 축제한테 양 미버치들이 제지 다들 라브리단 소요를
No, then any loksu any kone yangmena any
소신을 저면 선이 순수한 하나 세다 미버치는 제제 양 선이 순수한 소신하는 수 로스 엔탄들이 지들이 제 미버치단 미라든지 송단 요래서
And there are also presentations wherein the 35 confession Buddhas may be set apart as their own practice and engaged with, and then in another, they are members of the overall merit field. There are various practices for the 35 confession Buddhas.
한 뒤집어장 지도 강같이 수수 아주 뒤집어장 생기다 수수 장주 셈라면에 뒤집어장 제열 소신라면에 제열 강같 수수수 거치네 강다 뒤집어장 제열 미국 지단 뭐 지단 찍고 제단 있는 제열 유 미국 지단 미국들 됐으면 장주 셈라 고매열 상지 순주 상하라 고매열 소신라 고매열 야랑 소신도 지가 뭐가지 수수 라마 찍고 세다 딜레치는 저기 열에서
The purification, the The descent and purification of light and nectar is used variously. It is used with various objects of awareness. It may be employed with bodhicitta as object of awareness. It may be employed with the 35 confession pattas as object of awareness. It may be employed with merit field as its object. The descent of purificatory light and nectar may be performed with various objects of meditation, including one's root guru, in which one focuses the visualization upon one's root guru alone.
근데 수수기 때 띵이지 띵이진기 담로 당당히 개발했어. 그냥 띵이 안당하고 소신당 배 망고 삼로 때지 띵이지 배 숙침부 요하게 차진 고미야 된다라 아니 소신대 배 망고 셋다가서 띵이지 미국 자야 된다라 시기 열에서
The extensiveness of the merit field is for the purpose of developing samadhi. The merit field, when extensive, becomes an exercise for the mind in its development of samadhi.
또 간다 이 장화를 때네 아니 랑기다 간다 만족이 집어 장야가 만족이 장야기 집어디 하장 또 전부 유지 이 장야기 땡이 된데로 또 전부 오고 되고야 지들라 미과 또 전부 지투베 또 미과 또 전부 돈에 아니 땡이 또 전부 검디 아니 봐 딕장다 집어 장야다 아니 바게 내게 또 전부 고고 여러 뒤 된다다 미과 제야다 냠내 제야기 또 전부 요하나 된다 아니 소신다 근데 그 감지 자침부 수는 공부를 해서
In this training, because the negative karmas are considerable, they must be eliminated, may be eliminated only through considerable samadhi. To develop such samadhi, one needs an extensive and elaborate object of meditation for the development of a samadhi capable of eliminating negative karmas. And so the practice in which the negative karmas are purified and good qualities are developed through this visualization. Are there any others?
Thank you so much, Krishna, for this wonderful teaching. From the previous teaching, from the previous week, there are two lineages. One is the lineage of extensive deed, and the other one is the lineage of profound view. So, is it correct that my understanding is that here, Geshe-la just taught us about the lineage of extensive deed?
다들 유반이 여보체 아니 아니 the 아니 춥시디 아니 갸친 추기기 아니 강사 아니 심바 요마로 This is the lineage of profound view follows later. This is the lineage of extensive deeds. Yes.
Thank you. So with this practice and realization of this lineage of extensive deeds, I heard about the realization of two minds of enlightenment. What are those two minds of enlightenment?
그래서 아니 장축 있음니 라고 아니 승소아 아니 디 만라 아니 가르여래 The two are the conventional mind of awakening and the ultimate mind of awakening. And in the Mantrayana, these are the magic body and clear light. In the Sutrayana, there are the two truths, and in the Mantrayana, there are the two truths, and there are differences between them.
At the beginning of your teaching, you were describing the Lamrim as being one need look no farther. It speaks to it all. It's all there. And it would be impossible to take in all the other sources that are of him. And you continue to emphasize one comment saying that it is without contradiction. There is no contradiction. Is that dissimilar or different than saying it is entirely reliable or it is completely truthful? There's nothing other than what is contained there. There's no alternative to the information that's available here. Can't be translated.
Well, I'm not sure if I understand you exactly.
I am trying to understand why the term without contradiction is used, as opposed to what else? Completely truthful, completely reliable, without falsehood, without,
That's the end. And I guess you go and the song it was and the Matans Gilmed the Doba, Dobe Chodi, and the song. And the Gawa Meba said, Gawa Meba said, the tiny digi done that Kanisi in but not the say then Yamin Sema and in Lua Meba. Tidan the tiny mandra yorwa and in Kiam Meba say then Sema and Lua Meba. Don't that chick but Yamin and don't that any mandra than the sugar begins and carriers and the Kiam Meba di don't that so carrier. So you asked you've asked a very profound sort of question.
Some Corsana, Chambadi Yamdu, Chambadi Yamna, Kondo Yamdu, Kuni Chitu Marwa, or Tinanshi, and a Kandar Kok Tanda do with Lamrim and shading Yamne to get Ganga. Chick Chena, Chick Macheva, Chick Chena, Chick Nerto, the Dig Maris. And that Kunduganga Yamnega roots in the Akanga Chikoyama to Chimogoya, the Chinese Chiga Meva, or the legend of Call.
So without contradiction is to say that they're in no way discordant. Discord describes, for instance, a relationship between the arising of love and anger, which cannot be simultaneously coexistent with a loving mind. Here in the the topics here, there are no discordances. There's nothing that isn't perfectly in accord with all of the other components contained herein. And this is the meaning to be understood. You may think of it too in terms of the two truths, conventional and ultimate. And it isn't as though the conventional truth, an instance of conventional truth, is ever in conflict with or inconsistent with the ultimate truth, or the ultimate truth is in conflict or inconsistent with the conventional truth. One assists the other, but is never in conflict with it.
Yes, that's yes.
Thank you so much, Ishla. You had, I believe in the past, talked to us about the light and nectar descending, the way to visualize it in the form of a rosary, of a mala, where the nectar is the beads and the light is the string. And so in thinking about, I may have misheard, but I think I understood it to be sequential today with regard to first the defilements of body and speech being purified, and then the defilements of mind being purified by the light. So first the body and speech defilements by the nectar, and then the defilements of mind by the light. And so if we're doing the visualization with this sort of this idea of it being like this mala, with it sort of seems like it's all entering simultaneously. Do we just focus on the beads first and the thread later, or is it better for this type of visualization when we're doing things sequentially to first visualize just like a stream of nectar and then the light without the mala as the visualization?
Lo, the Gisiki, Chase Danger Song, the Dizzy Babjangi, Gangdandi, and the Chenmo, and the Dizzy Jabot, and it's it, and the Chengtaki, and you Robot seat, and the Negoyala, the ring, Egoyala, and the Rimshin do make a Kangares, Tambo de, and the Ludangaki, and the Jepadenzo, and the dark shady, and the Dizzy de Mepakian, then a Nipadi, and the Simgi Jip, and the Chima Denzo, and the dark chegi, and the Verserdi, and the Mepakian, and the Tambo, and the Dizzy Nipa, and the Verser. You know, the jets on the Tambo, and the Dizzy Gun, Babe Mepakian, Kang Ne, then the Verser, and Babe and Mepakian Goreve, and this Kessi and the Dambo and Nibegi Tambo Nibegi Kepa Dindriana, Candistego.
What they went around is that is to pay. Some of my ship saboting down less.
So you've given it some careful thought, and that's very good. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, 땅에 단다 두지대회세 밥상체 땅도 두지대회세디 랑게 룰을 주다. 어가노 세주랑도 막 팀바다 바바 치고로와 이 밥에게 소화기가 지도 아니 창을 빼지 않는 세버를 시송을.
Now, the descent and the absorption of nectar and light should give rise to a sensation and a feeling, and it's for that feeling, in order to develop that feeling, that I presented the mala with the beads and the cord.
Teni kunyi le ribat in the sometime you mares. But so samba jandu samba stem with Tony and Pagas Tangu to the Jang, the never say Jang, the day Jang, you are. It is but so someone want the Kartana, one thing in the town choguras in a ribang agent in the mares.
Now, the order isn't definite, and you may proceed in the order that you like, with the nectar and the light. The order is not necessarily definite.
Oh yes, so that Lungagi Tibati, Yigi Tibale Jang Deva Ravares, Yigi Tibati Chawa Yoris. So then Digi Tibajana, that's what must manga go lessons.
The defilements to speech, body and speech are grosser. They're more easily eradicated. The subtler defilements to mind require more time, as they are subtler.
Oh yeah, but yeah, do you say the Inji Lunga Tibala Jar Yigi Tibat, this Jar Yampa Jarag, and then also let Tambola, Mipa Jayag Chitola, Tango. The shape of the model, yeah, do you say you got Inji Lula Jar, the same that the Nizim Maresons?
The nectar as means for purifying defilements of body and speech, light as means for purifying defilements of mind. These are specifying so one may get a handle on the process of purification, but it isn't definitely or necessarily so that light only addresses mental defilements, nectar only physical and spoken defilements.
Oh yeah, not Yamaya, now let's say Togo Zorin the Lesana. Any so Yigi Tibatan, so Chigar Madonna, Tibatan, the Lago Tibatan, called Sela Jango, Miseke Yomaras, Togo Lesadi, and the Yigi Tibetolani, the Yamlen Chito resident, the 6 years. And Ibatella, and so Yigi Tibat Tard to do Lungaji Tibat, Yamdo Tard of response. Yigi Tibat Tamore, Lungaji Tibat, the Rava response.
In the secret Mantrayana, in the completion stage, at this high level of practice, the concentration is on purification of mental defilements, and there's less focus on purification of verbal and physical defilements. And furthermore, where there is finally purification of mental defilements, it follows naturally then the purification of physical and verbal defilements.
Oh, to say,
Is that right? Does that work?
Thank you so much. So helpful.
Are there others? If there are no others, then we'll recite our closing prayers.
Oh yes, that telling on any visible jam, me got dream. Any day, Suzuka, no, not a lake, and a come to nothing.
Now, in the descent and purification by light and nectar, if it becomes a familiar practice, then the benefits that stem from it are tremendous too.
What I'm same now, Paja. Maranzo Tanda video domain singedi, any Tanda Yonshiba, Mobile, Yon, Jurba. Coming Changa Yamu to Europe, the gate Tawa Chevala, same Ginan, Paja to get Tawa, Paja Tayalata. On that distribution pay up yours. Then I'm also Subula Timakoyan, Chuke, the Zamas, Lungu Zamas, Chuku Zamas, Mango Yorwa. That's same with Zamas, same with another Paja, the Zamas, Duzi Perjan, Di Mahimba, Tapsi Shinda Mambu Yamasa, Duzi Perjan, Di Tom Chevaina, and same thing, Baja Tato, same Baja Tana, Lili Bajaniam to Tai, response.
The habitual tendencies of mind that underlie the pain and suffering that we presently experience and those to come are immeasurable. And these habitual tendencies, these latencies must be eradicated, must be eliminated. Where one is able to use water, soap, and wash stains from clothing, the mind one isn't able to similarly wash the mind, purify the mind in this way. But there's a means in the descent and purification of light and nectar, by light and nectar, for eliminating and purifying habitual tendencies and latencies. And when the defilements to mind, the habitual tendencies of mind are purified by the descent and purification of light and nectar, then the coarser defilements too will be purified.
What is it? Rosong Tamoa, and the Kalish Rajamo, Tony, Zamachana, and Kapsan Chimboras, and the Kapsan Lenologis, and Kapsan Suzuman, and make it take my resonance.
This is not expensive. This does not require great effort on your part. And when something cheap and effective is offered to you, you're well advised to make use of it. I will now recite the closing prayers.
Dome Mari Gidon Rova Yi Nande Jave Ombo Da Gyunche Tema Sumbe Zera Gudu Ya Jave Yanji Tseve Jerome Tembe Rimba Guzan Lamje Jo Nyene Dube Yenam Yeji Sho Rangi Chichi Tobe Lamje Ne Shuda Tseve Chave Papi Dove Yeje Mba Seje Ne Jave Temba Yuri Tenjuji Temba Rinche Choji Machaba Chabjan Nyamba Dube Chode Niji Chebo Yiro Jeba Yi Pende Deji Sewa Cheba Sho Seji Jave Menjun Tele Le Dru Chanju Namje Rimbe Jang Hadu Namje Yila Pede Chi Jave Zeba Nindo Jonju Chi Lansan Rube Tuje Ruje Yege Seje Medan Nimi Sera Kundu Jave Naba Yi Namda Java Manjushe Kaze Tiba Jala Juju Tuje Rula Zuba Tuden Namje Tazu Roje Rashi Jago Chugun Jaju
For my due collection, vast and straight that I have amassed from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds wisdomized, blinded by ignorance. If I do not reach this state, may I be held in your loving compassion for all my lives and appreciation. May I find the best of the paths and the complete teachings, and may I please all the Buddhas by practicing. Using skillful means drawn by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings with the points of the path and die with the certainty. May I hold with this teaching for a very long time. With my heart going out with great compassion, in whatever direction the most precious teachings have not yet spread or once spread have declined, may I offer this treasure of happiness to aid all sentient beings. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted benefits, peace, and the Buddhas be nourished for a long time. by following the complete graduated path of enlightenment and the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their son. May all human and non-human beings that eliminate adversity and make things conducive for practicing excellent paths never be parted in any of their lives from the purest path raised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes effort to act in accordance with the tenfold, may always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere.
Dāgī chīnyē sāvē gyāvāndī yénā rāvā Yevara jitla lōsāṃ jāvāndī tēmbē nyēpō rīgā sēdāṃ Kāre rāvē gurvē sīmāndī tēnā devā Nīdhī jāgādī Jāvē sīdhī bhādhī tēngyā Jāvē bhāvō jidhar khyembā Gundu sambhō deyāṃ tēshī Tētā kūjī jēsū dālu shē Yevā tētā tāñjē rāgu Yūsū shēvē yāvā tēyī Mōvā chāma sōvē vōmā Dāgī yevē tsāvā dīguṇyā Sāmbhō chūjī rāgu Chāñjū sīmchū rīgu shē Mājē vānam kīgir chik I dedicate whatever virtues I've ever collected for the benefit of the teachings and of sentient beings, and in particular for the essential teachings of Venerable Wisdom, Drakpa Shining forever. In the land encircled by snowy mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All powerful sinners, please remain in the psychic existence of them. Such as the brave Manjushri and Samantha Butterfield realize things as they are. Also, I dedicate all these merits in the best way, that I may follow their example. I dedicate all these roots of virtue with the dedication praise to the best, by the victorious Viscount one 3 times, so that I might perform the noble Bodhisattva deed. And the supreme jewel of Bodhicitta that has not arisen or I grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish, but increase more and more. Yes, thank you very much. And if you have time, join us for lunch outside. That's it. Thank you.